hit my continue button. All right, so want to talk about the structure of how we're going to try to run this year. It's going to be similar. Social distancing is still in effect. When they change this, things may change on how we try to operate what we're going to do today. But the biggest thing is we're going to make this a 2-day competition. And I don't know how Arlington's schedule comes, but on the 29th of October, the majority of the schools that we work with are going to have an early release day. And our thought is that all the teams could use space within their buildings after that earlier release to take their tests and the testing events. Because that way we don't have to pay for cleaning. They can do it as a club, and the school can sponsor it and so forth. So that would help keep our costs down a little bit. So we're looking at on Friday the 29th, and we're going to do it through Olympiad again. So we can set a window of this between this time and this time is when you need to take your written test. We're going to ask that coaches are the proctors for the tests. So that's where we're going to want all the students in at least one room together taking their tests. Type of thing. And then the next day on Saturday, we're going to have building events basically all day. We're still wrapping our heads around that. Karen gave us some ideas. It could be that we schedule times within a building where the building events will go on. B and C are looking at possibly doing a round robin type of thing. You bring your team in, you go to your first building event, you cheer on, everybody cheers on the team, whoever's participating, then they go to the next building event and so forth, and do a round robin as a group, and then you're out the door. That's one possibility. Mine is more like, it could be something similar where Build-A-Barge is, well, we're not doing Build-A-Barge this year. Paper airplanes is happening at a certain time. Your 2 competitors come to that, or your 4, or your 6, or how many ever students you have within the building. We will be indoors and outdoors this year. We do have some events going on that. Your role, go ahead.
So Alan, I just looked it up, and unfortunately we do not have an early release day on that Friday. We have it on Wednesday. So I don't know if we would be able to take the test a little later.
So you have it that Wednesday or the next Wednesday?
Yeah, on Wednesday. I just looked it up because I hadn't checked. And for whatever reason, it says we have an early release on the 27th.
Okay.
Not the 29th.
So so let me write that down. I think there's a way that we can put this all together. And I think every school district is going to have that same schedule there.
The other thing, Stephanie, is we have the Halloween parade, and I just don't know when that will be. Will that be on that Friday?
I'm sure it will, but that's usually
on the Monday, or it could be on the Monday.
It will. Well, what day is Halloween?
Yeah.
On
the Sunday.
It will be Friday. So it will be Friday. I guarantee it'll be Friday. Probably if they have it, it'll be Friday by like 2.
Is that a city thing, or is that a school?
No, it's like one of the most popular events at school. But I mean, they may not have it just due to COVID. I have no idea.
Right. Yeah. They used to do that at my school. The kids would march through every school, every room, and show off their costumes and so forth.
Right.
So,
yeah.
So anyway,
we can check that.
Right.
When the Halloween's.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's possible to do something to set it up in Olympiad. We can double check on that too, Alan.
Yeah, I think it is too. My thoughts were is we would open the testing window from like 2:00 in the afternoon to like 6 or 8 o'clock at night. So,
okay.
But that's what I mean. I think within Olympiad we can work around things, timing schedules and so forth.
Okay,
So maybe it is you guys do it on the Wednesday and we do it on the Friday type of thing.
I gotcha.
And the other clientele that I know could probably do it any day would be our private schools, because almost every one of their coaches is inside their building already. So again, this is what we want to try to do, and
Okay.
we're going to be flexible on scheduling as much as we can,
Okay, thank you.
type of thing. So your role is you're going to set up and assign students, 15-member teams again. So on that 16th member, you've got a second team this year, type of thing. Coordinate space within your building to hold your testing, because you're going to be the proctors. We're still going to need parent volunteers. When it comes to that building day, I'm not too sure yet. I still have to figure out where our space is. If we can get the high schoolers to proctor those, then we won't need any volunteers for that. But again, that's one of those down the road type of discussions. Again, you can have up to 3 15-member teams. So you can have 45 students. That within that, maybe I should call them pods. That 15-member pod is going to have their own set of competitions, and they're going to be against the other set of competitions. 3 through 5, again, must be enrolled at your sponsoring school. You guys know all this. Can't pull any kids in an after school, so a SAC program can't come in. A school age after school program can't come in and say, well, I want to have a team. They have to be all from that same school. Third, fourth, and fifth graders can participate in any event. But only third graders can participate in third grade events. And we're going to go back to that, having third grade events this year. So that the third graders don't, because they're coming in brand new. We have to make sure that they're not disadvantaged on some of these events. That's the big one. So then all I have here is our events. These are the life cycle events. Dichotomous keys is a brand new one for third graders, where they're going to have to follow, the animal looks like this. Okay, what is it? Come to the end of the key and figure out what it is. Raptors is our ornithology this year. And you can read that, what's going on. Cell biology is just the functions of the cell. And we wanted to bring in disease detectives, which is normally a B event, just to see if A can handle, the 4th and 5th graders can handle it. Our earth science events, the big change here this year is in orienteering, it's going to be held outside. So they're going to have to know how to use that compass and how to get from point A to point B, and so forth. The other events are just things that we have normally. Now you'll see that it does say third grade event, rocks and minerals, and general events, rocks and minerals. They may be taking the same test, but they'll be graded, that all the third graders will be ranked together, and everybody else will be ranked together. Unless you specifically designate a third grader to take the general event, then they would be ranked in the general event, not the third grade event. So when we get into Sci-Olympiad, and this is you're going to be able, you'll see all the events that we have. It'll say third grade only. If you put a student in that third grade only, they won't be ranked within the general event, even though they may take the same test. And it goes on through all of these. We're going to bring back gunk this year. I know it says gunk glue. That's probably going to be the stretch. I should put gunk stretch in there. So I'm going to bring back those only for third graders, so they can get their hands dirty, have a good time making a mess, seeing if they can build ice cream and so forth. So that's going to come back for third graders only. Our physical events, we're going to do a maglev this year. They get to build the little paper cup maglev type thing and see how fast they can get down the track. Something new this year, ramp and roll. Not too sure on the rules of that yet. We're still working on those. But they're going to be able to, they're going to build a little vehicle of some sort and see how far or fast they can go down the thing. Still working on those rules. Technology, all of these events are going to be held on the building event day. And almost every one of them we have done before with some twist to it. Storm the Castle is basically building a catapult, throwing it at a target. Bridge building we've done before, right stuff we've done. Chopper Challenge, I've changed it up this year. I want to see if the kids can build a maple seed. So their chopper can only have one wing, and see if they can get it to whirl. So that one may be one that's going to take a lot of practice, a lot of ideas on the kids' part to figure out how they can build this thing. I just want to see if it's possible to be done. The rules are basically written so it has to twirl at least 3 times coming down. I think what we're going to get is we're going to get a lot of just sinking rocks type of thing.
So Alan, for that one, will you have the drop area? And if that's going to be done in the building event day, will you have the distance for the drop?
Oh yeah. We'll have that all down. Basically, the rules are going to say is that the highest would be the second story of a building,
right?
And the lowest would be like 10 feet.
Okay.
And if we have to hold it outside, it would be like a 5-step bleacher type of thing.
Okay.
And then at that, whoever's the tallest kid is probably going to have an advantage because they can, be higher up than everybody else. So I'm still working on those rules to see how to make it fair for everybody.
And Alan, one other question for you, since I'm new to the behind the scenes part. Assuming, since some of these events have, we've had them before, can kids, we don't have to worry about whether a kid had already participated in one of these in the years past. Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure.
No. In fact, there are some that will come and say, I don't want to do Chopper Challenge because it was too hard this year. I don't want to do Right Stuff. It was too hard. No. I see that more of a BC thing where they start off with their passion and they stay with it all the way through 12th grade.
Okay.
But for me, Division A is more about exploring as many possibilities as they can. So I'm not worried necessarily about that. There's going to be a ton of students who want to do these anyway. At my school, I have to have competitions to find out who's the best builder before they can even get into the event. So, and I'm not too sure how you guys did it for selecting students for events at your school. That's something that you're going to have to work on. Some schools get so many students that they have to have competitions just to get into Science Olympiad. So,
question on that: do most schools? We were just brainstorming the other day. Do most schools advertise this starting literally in the fall and try to organize that quickly, or do they, start advertising and signing up, in the spring of the prior year?
So most schools, well, I can't talk for all schools. I know that I probably will not get this out to my students the first week of school this year. So I always plan on a 6-week training sessions.
Okay, gotcha.
So I try to give 6 weeks. So the middle of September is when I should have my names of all my students, but that's just me. Once I release the rule book, all schools are going to network out, and it's sad to say there aren't teachers that run enough of these teams that run through PTA. So it's all on who as far as setting up a team and so forth. And I was surprised that there wasn't as many coaches on this call for the fall because they all want that rule book. They all want to know what's going on so they can get their kids studying this summer into the program. So
when will the rule book be published?
I'm hoping, I've got the date coming up here. I'm hoping August 1st.
August 1st.
I'm hoping. I've got 3 weeks of summer program to teach here. So in between teaching that, I'll be writing rules and for the most part, it's just going back over, since we've run these events before, it's going back over the rules and, revising them with what some things that happened in the past and so forth. Then we have inquiry events. Logical thinking, the last time we ran it was like solving Sudoku puzzles and things like that. Code Busters is we'll probably run it sort of like B, where they have to solve a code. And Engineering Enigma, there's no training for that, because that's sort of the day of the competition. The judge says, this is what you're building, here's your parts. So that's all about learning building techniques, and how would you create a bridge, or how would you create something. There has been a couple years where the Engineering Enigma and Storm the Castle were very closely related as far as building catapults. The Rube Goldberg we used to run, sometimes that's the Engineering Enigma. How long can you keep the marble traveling through the thing? How many different types of energy transfers can you do, is another type. So, but we never know what it is until the day of the competition, type of thing. So here's my timeline that I'm hoping to get to. We can have registration ready for schools and parents on August 15th. I know that's before school starts. It'll be out there. And then we'll close it 6 weeks later. August 1st is when school should be done. 2 months later, parents and students should all be registered, ready to go. You'll do a final roster check on the 23rd of October, and then we'll have our competition. Now, in between all these other dates, there's probably going to be 1 or 2 other coaches meetings to fine tune what we need to do. I just haven't anticipated those yet. And I know a lot of that'll come after that August 1st date. So it may be that we do something around September 1st, as far as meeting again as coaches to say, okay, what are your questions? Because that'll give us almost two months to the competition there. And we'll probably have something again in October, just to make sure we're all on track and we all know we all have the same idea of what's going on. But I didn't put those dates on there because I'm not too sure, 1, if they're going to be needed, or 2, the time frame of the weekends in fall are very busy, and getting back into the swing of schools and things, how that's going to impact everybody's thinking. And that is all I have to present. So basically, it's what other questions?
Can we get the slides?
Yes, I'll send those out here as soon as we're done.
Okay.
I'll send them to all the coaches, and I'll send the link for the recording here to all the coaches. And if you haven't noticed, my email messages will come to you as a blind carbon copy. Just so that if you don't want your email out there to the whole group, type of thing.
You just flick back to the first slide that had
this one?
No, the one after that. No, the first slide of the events.
Oh, the events, the life science events.
Yeah, I was just taking some screenshots because my daughter was interested.
Well, I'll send you this today. I'll send this to you today. So you won't have to do that. You can. I'll send it as a PDF. That way, everybody can see it. All right. What else can I do for you today?
I think you've answered most of my questions.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll have more as we go along, but.
Well, I think for the both of you right now, what you should do is talk to Kristen and say, okay, where's your email list of parents from last year?
Yeah.
And send that out and say, okay, here's our event, start thinking about it. And then I don't know how you guys can reach out to your 3rd grade students.
Yeah, we've already had a call with Kirsten.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think we're in reasonably good shape. I think we just needed to know the events,
Right.
And it sounds as though on the first, we'll have a more detailed description of the events with the rules.
Right.
So we'll be able
Right.
to articulate that.
That is my goal.
Good.
Actually, I was going to say my goal was July 17th, but I'm not going to reach that goal.
Yeah.
So, so yes, hopefully by the 1st of August, and it may come a little earlier. It's the proofreading that gets that always gets me on these kind of things.
No, it's just really a couple of sentences of description, because when you try and advertise them to the parents, they're like, well, what does this mean? What are you going to do, etc. And that's
Right,
just
right.
useful to build a Google form and then have people start expressing interest.
Right. And I see Anbu made it. Morning, Anbu.
Good morning. Sorry, I guess I have to run. I just received a notification from GMU that we have to come for an in-person tour.
Oh,
For my
okay.
daughter, I mean, so it's at 10, so I guess I need to run. So
All right, we'll talk later, Anbu.
yeah, sure. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.
Ambu is the other part of the team here that helps, one of the other parts that helps run Division A. So you can send questions to her, questions to me. We can help you out. All right. Well, if that's all we have, then you guys have a good Saturday.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.